Hi Lancers, this is Robin Thompson and this is week 4, Managing Generations. I hope you enjoy my presentation. So going by the years, I would technically fall under Generation X. However, I'm right on the cusp. I was born in 1980, so I'm literally at the very end of that cusp. So there are some attributes that I definitely do relate to, and then there's also some that don't fit for me. Doesn't mean that all Gen Xers feel that way, but some may have all of those characteristics. But for me, I did find some. So the first one, positive attitude. I definitely have a positive attitude. In fact, that's one of the things that I think is important in the workplace because there are a lot of people who, as we know, complain and do a lot of blaming, but they're not really doing anything to make changes with that. So positive attitude, I definitely relate to that. I hate to admit this, but yes, I am impatient. I like to have it now. I want it now. I want things to happen quickly and move quickly. I'm also a multitasker, and my motivator and my retention is definitely security and salary. I'm somewhat new to the public sector, so the retention, as far as security, is important to me because I've experienced 2 layoffs in the private sector, so that definitely is what initially pushed me to come to the public sector and get back in school. So definitely, I do value those things very, very highly. Some of the things that I didn't quite identify with is that it's just a job, or the freedom to do it my way, or this flexible work schedule, and the informal work environment. I don't need to work from home or have this flexible schedule. Comparing my schedule now to the private sector where there's no nights, there's no weekends, there's no overtime. To me, I have a flexible work schedule working 8 to 5, so I appreciate that very much so. Um, and as far as working from home, I actually would prefer not to do that. I feel like I would be more of a procrastinator if that was to happen. So that's a little bit about myself and the characteristics that I do fall into with Generation X. Um, Gen Y, there are some things that I can, I guess, say that um, I link over into that. Being tenacious and being social, but I'm not social in a way with the social media. Actually, I'm probably one of those weird ones that I don't have any social media and I never have. So I guess that's something I don't really identify with. So managing people in these different generations can be challenging. And I don't necessarily think that it's that you have to cater to these different generations, but being aware and being a good leader, when you're trying to delegate and motivate and do things, you have to really know your staff. And knowing your staff is knowing what generation, what makes them tick, what's their drive, things that they're good at. So you do have to, um, pay attention and know what you're dealing with because that's only going to make it easier for you as a leader. So I don't think it's necessarily, again, that we have to change how we work, but if we want to have results that mirror, efficiency and effectiveness and meet the goals of the organization, then we're going to have to be able to adapt to these various characteristics that each generation brings into the workplace. So theorists that I link these generation or my generation to, these are all going to be human relations and social approaches. So Elton Mayo and the humans relations approach, um, he really emphasized the power of groups, um, and that need for the reciprocal communication, whether it's from the employee to the manager or the other way around as well. And communicating goals and making decisions together is going to help the organization. And you have to teach them these things. You have to teach them, what they're going to refer to as, soft skills, because the relations between workers and employees, they're not often regulated by, let's say, the regular norms of the environment that you're working in. It's concerned more with psychological and morale, and um, people have different motivating factors, as we just learned about. Different things, make them want to do more. And of course, Mary Parker Follett and her, she direct contact, you know, employees and managers can help organizations avoid, conflict and misunderstandings by meeting regularly, one-on-one or team meetings, to discuss, the plans for the day, um, things like that. And also Douglas McGregor with Theory X and Y. Um, so just to kind of remember, talking about Theory X is um, we drawing on new emerging principles. You know, we want to work as natural, like we're playing or resting. Workers are engaged and they're fulfilled with their work. Self-fulfillment is the real reward that workers seek. So these things do go down to people. People matter. The relationships that you build with staff matters. And in order to have an environment that um, is one, healthy, and productive and efficient, you really have to pay attention to the people that you work with. We can all learn tasks and we can all learn processes and procedures, but it really comes down to gaining that trust and respect by knowing the staff and knowing who you're working with, because you're only as good as your team, and you can't get the work done without your team, and you have to invest in them. And by communicating and being available and offering your support and feedback and knowledge and coaching, all those things make them feel valued. And in some way, whether they're a baby boomer or a millennial or a traditionalist, the people aspect is still there with all of them. They're still loyal to something with that job or each person. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you next week.